You tell me who does.
She a good girl? You love her?
Yes, I do.
That's too bad.
Baby Driver is once again written and directed by Edgar Wright and stars Ansel Elgort as a getaway driver named Baby. He has a sort of deal with Kevin Spacey that he needs to work out, so he works on heist jobs, well, as a getaway driver for a bunch of heists. And once a certain girl named Deborah gets involved, there is a lot of hijinks that ensues. There is also a lot of tension that builds between Baby and his crew that he works for. Edgar Wright, to me, is one of those directors that has not done a single bad film. There are maybe some that might be mediocre, such as Ant-Man, but he really didn't have a lot of involvement in this film, all he did in this film was produce and write some of it and direct a little bit parts of it, and those turned out to be the parts that I really enjoyed. The other parts, well, that's different. And I think I reviewed this movie before, and I'm not sure, but you got that. But his other films I really do like is The World's End, Hot Fuzz, and Shaun of the Dead. And if you want to get into Edgar Wright's films, I would highly suggest the Cornetto trilogy. This is the Canadian version, I believe. It has all three, and you get this nice vanilla type package, which is kind of goes with the whole notion of Cornetto, which is an ice cream. And I personally do love Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's one of those movies that I grew up with as a kid, and I still love to this day. It's very reminiscent to a lot of video game sort of icons and iconography, and it's based off of a anime comic book that is also inspired by gaming, and I really do enjoy this film. I really do. And when it comes to Baby Driver, I think it is one of his best films. I don't think it's his greatest film, but for a fresh start on an American film, like a movie set in America, he definitely knocks it out of the park, for the most part. Everything is good, and I want to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, so let's get down to basics. Cinematography, good. Editing, great. Quick and snappy and electric. The driving sequences in this film are so fast and are so electric that I could feel everything that Baby is going through. Every single turn, every single acceleration, I felt the same sort of pressure, and it's so great to see. The writing in the story is, once again, good. Every single one of Edgar Wright's films that I've seen has some really tight writing, some memorable characters, really good lines of dialogue, and, again, very snappy editing. It's really well done that he does it again. Everything that's good about him is still here. The one area, though, where I think he kind of slips up is with some of the romance dialogue between Baby and Deborah. Some of it I don't really think is viable, but it's okay. It's an okay sort of dialogue between Baby and Deborah. At times it can be a little bit corny, but other than that, everything else is good. Everything else. And I don't want to spoil anything in this. The music selection, I definitely do not want to disclose any of the songs that is used, because some of it plays really well into the plot. It plays so closely to the plot that if I were to disclose any of the titles of the songs, you would probably understand most of the film. And what is also really good, and this is a guilty pleasure of mine, is when music is timed to the same as the image. Now, what I mean by that is that if I have a drum beat and I go like this, and the drum beat is with the snapping, I am always really intrigued by that. Every single scene that has the heist stuff, every single scene that has the car chases, all the songs are timed to the T. This is the best sort of time-based editing that I really do enjoy. And to jump off that point, this movie is not necessarily just a heist film. It's also a kind of a musical. Now granted, there's not a lot of singing from the main actors, it's just music that Baby puts on his iPod, and even with his mixtapes at times. But with the shots and the editing style that's mixed with the music, it almost feels like some scenes were like musicals, like a musical number. And it's really, again, it's well done, and that's all I can really say about this. That's all I can really say about this film, is that it's well done. The characters in this film feel very natural, and I do think that every character really flows well together, especially Ansel Elgort as Baby. I think he gives a really decent performance, a really good performance as Baby, and his backstory is also something that's very interesting. They show it in some flashbacks, but most of it is done very naturally, and it's not in your face at the beginning. They just pepper it throughout. And it's really, it's nice storytelling. It's really nice storytelling. And it's not, like Suicide Squad, where they introduce a character 3 or 4 times at the beginning and expect you to know everything about the character 10 minutes into the film. You don't necessarily need to do that. And that's what Baby Driver does. That's probably the best. The pace and attention is really well crafted enough that the pace is always going, but the tension is always heightened every scene, because Baby, with all the stuff that he's doing, well, I can't really get into spoilers, but let's just say this: the plot escalates very well. It's not automatically risen. It's paced very well, that you accept the sort of tension that builds. And the third act of this film is so enjoyable, is so well edited, it's so energetic that I could not breathe. It is one of those films that I will probably most likely buy on Blu-ray and watch it again and again, like I do with the other Edgar Wright films. Now, if you want to see me review the Edgar Wright films that I have here, I might do a little thing of that later on this year, but I'm not going to review them now. I will make a promise, though: these 4 films will be reviewed. Do I think that Baby Driver is Edgar Wright's best film? No, not necessarily, but it's good. It's definitely a good film, but again, it is with the romantic dialogue that I have a little bit of trouble getting past. I highly recommend this film if you are a fan of Edgar Wright. If you are not a fan of Edgar Wright but you want to go see this film, definitely check this movie out, and then watch the movies that I just mentioned a while ago. So, with all that being said, I'm going to give Baby Driver my honest opinion of an A. Thank you guys so much for watching my Baby Driver review. Check back in the next couple days for my review of Despicable Me 3, and also stick around for this weekend as we are starting the Spider Week, which is going to lead right into Spider-Man Homecoming. I've been working on the set of 5 reviews for Spider Week, and it's really been kind of a drag, to be honest, to make all these episodes, but they are really, I think they're well done. Granted, I think there could have been a little bit more editing on some, but I'm already done with 3 of the reviews, so I have 2 more to go, and I hope you guys watch them. So, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.